I'm Ellie and welcome back to Arcadia, my self-converted Toyota Hiace, which I'm currently travelling the east coast of Australia in. Now, a couple of people have commented, and it's definitely the number one question I get asked in real life, which is where do I park the van? So in today's video I'm going to go through exactly the process that I use to find parking spots and park my van. I'm Ellie Wilder and you're watching Wilder in Motion. So what I'm doing is known as boondocking, and this is essentially parking in the street and staying there for the night. I haven't actually stayed in a dedicated campground on this trip at all so far. I did get given this camp book and it's got a map with campsites marked on it as of a few years ago when it was published. But one thing I've noticed is that most of the free camps are inland to encourage tourism to that area. So where I am on the coast at the moment, they're pretty much all paid, sometimes more than $25 a night, which is just too much for someone who is traveling full time. So my strategy for boondocking is pretty simple. I first of all pick a general area. If there's a certain activity that I want to be doing the next day, so I want to be near that, I will go to that area on Google Maps and I'll have a look around. And what I'm looking for is parks, beach fronts, bodies of water, the edge of the bushland, a street at the edge of a suburb so that there's no houses on one side. Basically, I'm trying to park somewhere that's in a residential area but isn't directly out the front of someone's house. So once I find a street that seems appropriate, I will go to Street View and have a look there. I'm looking to make sure that it isn't a main road, that there's no parking restrictions like 2-hour parking in a busy area, or if it's off the edge of the park, it does often have specifically no camping signs. I also want to make sure that there are other cars parked there, both so that it's physically possible to park on that street, but also so that I'm blending in with the other vehicles a little bit. Plus, I need it to be relatively flat with no trees overhanging the area where I want to park. Not only is this bad for the solar, also if it rains, really big drips accumulate on the leaves and land on the roof really loudly, as well as any animals on those trees can drop what they're eating, which is very loud on the roof too. And preferably near facilities. However, since I'm only staying for the nighttime, it's fine if the facilities are a short drive away. So then at dusk I will head to the spot that I have picked to park, and I'll keep an eye out for spots along the way. If I don't specifically need to be parked in a certain place, then I'm happy to pull up if I notice an appropriate spot along the way. If I do end up going to the original spot that I picked, I'll then check out the area, make sure it matches with all of those criteria, and then I will park up. Since it is dusk, generally I go pretty much unnoticed by the residents. The other great thing about the setup of my van is I can then just climb over the back seats and then I'm all set to go. I don't even need to exit the van at all, so it really is super stealth, and normally no one even notices me pull up, and by the time they do notice it is already morning, in which case it's perfectly legal for me to be parked there. If the spot doesn't meet my criteria, for example, I pulled up in front of somewhere that was an empty block of land on Google Maps, but then there was a house there last week, I had to go and look for somewhere else. And this took me quite some time as it was really a very residential area. If I can't find somewhere quickly, the fallback is outside a school because there are schools everywhere. I just park normally on the very edge, well away from the main gates. And since I'm arriving there in the evening and then leaving before school starts the next day, it's very stealth, and then I just head off to wherever I want to go for my activities for that day. Ultimately, I haven't had any issues free camping, and I think that is for two main reasons, which should be the primary takeaways of this video. Number one being that I arrive in the evenings, so I go largely unnoticed until the mornings, and number two, by that time I've already set off on the day's adventures, since I'm only staying in each location for one night max. So that is how I find places to park my van. There's a whole lot more that goes into stealth camping, from the design of the van to noise to light at nighttime, so much so that I would think I will do a separate video on it. I've got plenty more van life content linked in the description below, and I'm kind of liking doing this 1 week vlog, 1 week more sit down video like this. I do upload new van life videos every single Saturday, so if you want to be a part of the journey, then be sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.